Okay. All right. Hey, everyone. It is Wednesday, February 17th. This is our monthly speaker series. I am going to be talking about how to set up. I'm using the Nexus in particular, but it can be set up on any system like Thought Technology or Alive that allows you to do neurofeedback as well as biofeedback. And what I'm going to show you is a modality that I did fairly often in my practice when I was in practice that I called meditation enhancement. And so what I did was I started off doing heart rate variability training with people where I found their resonant breathing and got them to where they could train their resonant breathing. They can do it without having to get that out of my way, without having to uh, being able to go into this protocol, having already accomplished being able to breathe in their resonant breathing. And I'm going to guess that everyone here knows what resonant breathing is. Does anybody have a question about what resonant breathing is?
Can I verify that this was something that, hi, Dr. Kerson, good to see you.
Hi.
Can I verify that this was something that we discussed last semester? Okay, thank you.
Yes. This is finding a person's breath rate that then shows that they're in mostly the low frequency, and that also that they have a subjective experience around feeling that is the frequency that they feel most calm when they're doing abdominal breathing. So the other day, John LeMay and I played around with the Nexus system. And what we did was I hooked myself up and we just kind of played with creating a screen so that in the Nexus one could do that kind of training. But as I said, this is just a model that, considered the theses behind it so that you can then utilize these ideas in other systems. It's just that he and I are both so comfortable with the Nexus, so that's why we did it on the Nexus. So I'm going to share my screen. And let's see, I hope I can do it this way. Okay, so, oh yeah, okay, good. So what we did was we recorded how we were playing around with it. And so I'm just gonna skip past here a little bit. This is the screen. Everyone can see my screen, I'm assuming, yeah, okay. So this is the screen that we use. What are the things that you want your client to train to? And what are the things that you as the clinician want to be able to monitor, right? The EEG, right? Of course, you're going to be looking at the raw EEG. Can you see my mouse? Is the mouse? Okay, good. Okay, so you want to look at anytime you're doing any kind of training or recording or whatever with EEG, you always want to look at the raw EEG. And then you also want to look at the fast Fourier transform or the frequency spectrum, okay? And so because we're doing alpha theta training, we have an alpha bar and we have a theta bar. And then we also set up an alpha theta ratio, alpha to theta ratio. Over here, we have the respiration and the heart rate. And then heart rate variability amplitude. And so we want to make sure that falls somewhere between 15 and 25 difference, or 10 to 22 difference in the exhale and the inhale. And then I always measure skin conductance, because when this training is eyes closed. So your client is going to have their eyes closed. So you don't have to create a client screen. You want to simply, all you need is a therapist screen. And what you really want to focus on, though, is sound, right? You want to make sure that sound it makes perfect sense to your client, okay? All right, so I'm gonna start the video here a little bit, and I'm gonna stop it and go, because I didn't edit the thing. I just sort of, we're gonna stop and go here.
The question,
More of a meditative and calm state through the neurofeedback, but also to help with the autonomic system, to support the autonomic system by training with heart rate variability as well, which really helps people to bring together the brain and the autonomic physiology together in a way that is very helpful for people who are hoping to learn to meditate a little bit better, or just to bring overall arousal down. So you can see here what I have on the screen.
Okay,
We have
so I'm
one
gonna
channel of
pause this here.
EEG, and
Because I've already described, all of the, what are called objects in Nexus. I've already, except I haven't described the bottom one here, this wavelet, and I'll do that in a little bit. But so I'm going to skip past the video here, but I'd like for, if any one of you have any questions around what any of these what any of these objects are and what exactly they mean, and what we're training and what we're deriving from them.
quick question. You're training with eyes closed. I'm curious, some meditators meditate with their eyes open. So I'm curious about the eyes closed requirement.
Okay, so you can certainly do this protocol with eyes open, but you have to be really careful about your alpha theta ratio, because when the difference between eyes open and eyes closed in the EEG is very substantial, especially in the alpha range. So as long as you and you don't want the client, if they are wanting to keep their eyes open, maybe to look at a candle or a mandala or whatever it is they want to look at, make sure that that's what they're looking at and that they're not looking at this, because it'll be very difficult for them to get into a meditative state if they're looking at all these things going, right? Yeah. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get them into a deeper state. So it's not like a task, like a theta beta ratio or slow cortical potential, or some other kind of neurofeedback where you're doing 2-minute rounds and it's real task oriented and they're getting points and all this kind of stuff. You want this to be 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and you want to really take advantage of them getting into
Evie, can you tell Tori dinner's ready?
Somebody's yakking.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Tori, dinner's ready.
I'm going to make dinner afterwards. Anyway, so does everyone follow that so far? We're all good? Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you? So you're using sound though still, right? But you're just using minimal sound.
You'll see. No, you want to use maximal sound. That's what's really important with eyes closed training, because you don't have the luxury of visual feedback. You have to rely upon really robust sound feedback.
Is this a prescribed alpha theta?
What do you mean by prescribed?
It's the same for everybody in this particular protocol, or are you setting it according to a QEEG?
Yes, you'll have to read my book. As you know, I edited the alpha theta book. No, I believe very exclusively that one should always be treating the individual, and that there really are no prescribed treatments.
So you're just trying to up each of them to the degree?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You might be trying to lower one of them. You might not need to change one of them at all. So you have to be paying attention, and you have to be responding to. You'll see in a little bit. As when I was hooked up and John was playing clinician, and we were navigating what would be the best way for me to learn alpha theta training. So
Oh.
you'll see that in a bit here.
Yeah.
So let me just I just want to go past,
And I am currently hooked up
I've already told you all of this.
and settled and have a baseline. I have John LeMay here with me, who is going to play clinician while I'm hooked up and showing you how to do this kind of training. I have the heart rate value here. Right now it says 70. I have respiration value, breaths per minute. And then I have the microsiemens of the skin conductance. And you can see just below, we have skin conductance, and that you will see over on the left-hand side, you'll see the values for that. On the right-hand side is temperature, but I have not hooked up temperature. And then on the right-hand side where we see the
Okay, so I've already done all
spectral,
this. I'm going to go past.
meaningful as the training goes on. Below all of that, we have a wavelet,
Okay. right.
which is
Okay, so let me explain what a wavelet is for those of you who might not know. You know how a spectral is considered two-dimensional for EEG, right? You have amplitude and you have frequency. A wavelet, let me move that out of the way. A wavelet is three-dimensional. It has amplitude. No, I'm sorry. It has frequency and time and amplitude. And amplitude is observed by the color. So if we have frequency here, and I know that's probably hard to see, and I apologize for that, but this is going up to 60 hertz. And you can see that everything above about 25 hertz or so is pretty much dark. That's telling us that there's not a whole lot of power, because it's the color that determines the amplitude. The amplitude up here in the FFT is your y-axis. The amplitude here is the color coding. So you have, in a wavelet, you have a frequency here. And so again, if we go to about 25 hertz, you see that there's not much power going up above that, but you do see that there's a lot of power below that. And yellow being the highest, and then it goes to red, and then it goes to orange, and then it goes, or maybe it's yellow, orange, red, blue, deeper blue, black kind of thing. So this tells us, this is the exact same timestamp as this is. This is telling us that there's a lot of delta, there's a good amount of alpha, we've got some power going on here in around 20 microvolts. We've lost a lot of power in the 20s, and then it picks up a little bit as you get into the faster frequencies. And you see that happening here too. Here if we go between 22 and 28 hertz, between 22 and 28 hertz, you see it's pretty dark, right? So these do corroborate with each other because they are essentially the exact same timestamp, except this gives us time, where this only gives us amplitude and frequency. The time that we pick up here is the moment-to-moment changes. Well, this is still
a
stagnant.
wavelet.
Let's move. I'm going to move on here. Okay, so now we are. Let's see. Now we're getting started to record.
I think.
Oh, and then it crashed. So we're going to scoot by. All right. Okay. So now we're back.
Yeah, there it went. Darn it.
It's still going here.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's just spinning.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It takes too many seconds.
We got it going. I don't want
Damn
to
it.
push it ahead. I thought I would be so fancy and go in and edit all this stuff out, and I was like, I don't have time for this.
This is so annoying.
Oh, let me push ahead.
Yeah, it's just.
All right, there we go.
Oh, hey, woo. Okay,
There you go.
all right, I'm closing my eyes. You, do you have control?
I do,
Okay.
yes.
So this is what you would expect to see when you're doing this kind of recording. And the first thing you want to do is obviously get your parameters set. You want to make sure that your client knows what each sound is. So John is playing around with the sounds right now. And that was his dog, not mine. That was Elliot, the dog.
That's very low.
Mm-hmm.
And that's too pronounced, so it's going to pop somebody out every time.
And the reason why I'm showing this
So I'm,
is because I think it's really
lowering that
important for
tone
you
as
to
well.
realize that you will be fumbling
Not
with this
quite
in
as
the
far
beginning to
as the
get it
last
just
one.
right.
Want to hear where it's at. I don't want it to be a chord. I don't want it to be a range.
So what he's doing right now is he's setting up the theta protocol, and now he's clicked on the alpha protocol, because the important thing here is that you have a different, you have to make sure that your client really knows the difference between the alpha sound and the theta sound, because over time you're going to be saying, okay, I want you to focus on theta. Okay, now I want you to focus on alpha.
I don't know what any of the sounds are. I'll wait till you're ready to tell me.
All right, so right now I'm trying for a warm pad sound, a gentle sound to allow us to know alpha is present.
Okay, so that's alpha.
And I'm trying to set the key so that we can hear not a discordant sound, but there's a background.
That sounds nice.
There we go. There we go.
So then the other sound, is that theta or heart rate?
The two sounds right now are alpha and theta.
Oh, okay, good.
And that one's minor to it, so I don't want that. That's the heart rate variability. So I'm going to go.
So what he's doing now is he's setting up, so I'm going to have three sounds that I'm going to be attending to with my eyes closed: alpha, theta, and heart rate variability amplitude. So I'm
a little more brash than I wanted, but it's getting close. So we can pause it here for a second if you would like, and we can just see what we're looking at. together
Okay,
relative to thresholds.
all right. Are you paused? Okay,
I'm paused.
okay, cool.
All right. So what I'm attempting to create, so that you know where I'm going with this, the heart rate variability, if it's in range, is going to have a very slow moving song that goes with it.
Okay,
And then I'm going to create a tone just a little higher
oops, what happened?
for alpha, and then within the same key, I want the tone for theta, preferably so that all three are layered but not discordant with each other.
Perfect.
And that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, good. The only other thing, I'm gonna grab the mouse for a second from you.
Absolutely.
I just want to smooth the heart rate
Yes.
and not that I'm watching it, which I would be if this were eyes open, but it just kind of helps to see the heart rate and the respiration get closer together. So it looks like my heart rate is at around 56. My breath rate is around 6.25 or whatever, and my skin conductance is at around 0.7. So I'm not embarrassed by any of that, people. Okay.
Pretty good stuff.
All right. Well, I am ready to just listen to tones. The only thing that I recommend is that make sure your client knows which tone is which. So
Which I've already said.
I've got 3 tones. I would take 2 of them and make the threshold so high that they don't come on. And then the one that I want to teach really low so it stays on, and do that for the 3 different tones just to make sure that I'm really clear what those 3 tones are.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
We can do that now.
Okay.
So I'm removing one of those and the other. So the first tone is an alpha tone.
Okay.
So if I can have you close your eyes, just listen for it.
Okay. I got that.
All right, very good. And now we're going to play the theta tone.
Ah, okay. Deeper. Very good.
Yes. All right. And now I'll bring in the heart rate variability tone. It should be more of a music. And I tried to hit the bar here correctly. There we go.
Got it. Okay, good. All right, so that's all heart rate. Okay, cool.
Yes, and that's heart rate.
Got it.
All right. So now we should be able to hear all 3. Any sound, exactly what we'd like to hear. Just any sound. And I'm just shaping this so that the alpha is a little more consistent.
And I think for this purpose, maybe just like another minute or so.
Sure, sure.
I'm just gonna a little bit faster, closer. Yeah, yeah.
I think stop and say yes. I hope it's saved. Oh,
It didn't actually say it.
No,
Didn't actually say it. For some reason it-
no.
But
the top.
I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause. It did crash. It did crash, and so but if you the important thing once the session is over, just like with any session, you want to have a debriefing. And I'm echoed. Anyway. And so what I here is the EEG, heart rate, respiration data, and they. Oh, this is. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Fine. And so you know, it's important to be able to, but it's important to review these with your client. Sometimes with alpha theta training, this kind of training, they're so that they don't deal with all the numbers. So you do this like. So you might review this the next time, right? Rather than or in their data. Rather
We can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
It's very echoey.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure. Did it just went away? Yes. Okay. All right. So everyone just. Bonnie, you're. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway. I want to start over. No. I'm going to mute myself. We'll see what happens. Okay, 1, 2, 3. The point I'll stop clearly. And Bonnie, you're Bonnie, do you have two computers on? What's going on? 1, 2, 3. I don't know what's going on. Nobody else is muted.
Looks like Madeline keeps coming up.
I don't even see Madeline on here. Oh, well, Madeline, I guess it was you. Anyway, who cares? Bottom line is I'm not outgoing anymore. Okay, so again, point here is you always want to have some kind of a review screen. You want to be able to discuss with your client what you see in the numbers and how that relates to their experience. Okay. However, with alpha theta training, you might not want to do that at the end of the session because you've gotten the person into such a nice, deep, quiet, meditative state that you don't want to be throwing numbers and graphs at them. So you might want to, but you do want to make a point to have a review discussion the next time you see them before they do another session like this. So I think that that's a really important piece that, you want to honor the state that they got into. And I have to say that, if we go back over here and listen to some of this, I think, the alpha, the tone was much too reverberative. And it wasn't, the threshold was not set properly from my perspective. I would have put it way up higher because, the alpha was generating between 10 and 15 microvolts. And if I wanted to increase that, I would obviously not want to have my threshold at 6. So that's that. I thought the alpha theta threshold, I thought that was set okay, because it looked to me like I, with my eyes closed, I had more alpha than I did theta. And the goal with alpha theta training is to get your theta amplitude higher than your alpha amplitude. That's one of the traditional goals of alpha theta training, is to get your theta above your alpha amplitude. And so I would have structured these thresholds a little bit differently. I thought that this threshold was set fine because I want to see at least 15, if not 20, a difference of 15 or 20 beats per minute in between inhale and exhale. So I would want reward to be not at 10, but it looked like I could have, my respiration rate was at about 5.5. And normally for me, my resonant breathing is about 4.5, but because I was listening and playing clinician as well as client and trying to work it out with John, I couldn't get into as deep a state as I would have if I was, really truly doing this. So if I were at my resonance of 4.5, I'm sure that my heart rate variability would have, fall, right into place. So, comments, thoughts, questions? Go ahead, Bonnie. You're muted. Yeah. We still can't hear you. Sylvia's pointing to her ear. Ear. Sounds like. Is it me that I'm not hearing everyone? Because I also see that, no, my sound is on. I also see that Catherine is trying to talk. Is this me? What's going on here? Can you guys hear each other? Is it me that's not hearing you? I don't know what just happened. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna see what's going on here. We got 16 chats. Oh my goodness, I didn't even know that. Okay, so I see everybody muted at this point. Go ahead and Catherine and unmute yourself and let's see if I can get you. Now I'm no, not hearing you. Oh, this is awful. I don't know what to say. Oh dear. I just heard someone. Bonnie?
Well, can you hear me, Cynthia? It's Phoebe. You can hear me. Awesome. No, I had a quick question about the, it's one channel for the alpha.
Yes.
Did you say where you put it?
Yes.
Was it CZ or where did you put it?
No, you back
Oh.
here, back here.
Oh,
Traditional alpha theta training was done at 01, actually.
01.
We
Okay.
now know better because we know more about networking and all that kind of stuff that we tend to train on any of the parietal sites based upon assessment.
Okay.
I put it at PZ. Anyway, go ahead. Catherine, you want to try somehow or another my muting weird thing? Stop. No, I'm not hearing you. Shoot. I don't know what happened there.
Can you type it?
Oh, that's a good idea. Well, let me go through the chat here. What is the box of colored pixels? I think I already described that. That was from Gabrielle. Okay, good. Maybe I missed it, but do you have a cap on? No, I was just doing one channel. We answered that. Catherine says she has a question. We can't hear her yet. I imagine at 01 or 02, I already told you I did PZ. Is the Alive capable of this? The Alive is capable of this, but the Alive systems that most of you have do not have EEG. So actually the software itself is not set up to give feedback for EEG. If you buy EEG sensors, you can use them in the box, in the amplifier, but you have to have a different software, which is called BioExplorer, which is not that easy to come by anymore in order to do the EEG. So basically the answer is no, unless you're really good at, computer programming. Thought Tech, absolutely, because Thought Tech offers, oh, Allison is here. Hi, I didn't even see you there. Thought Tech, you can do all the different modalities. How you set up a screen for this in Thought Tech is another story, because screen building in Nexus is pretty straightforward once you know what you're doing. I have never learned how to do screen development in Thought Tech. If any of you have, that's great, and maybe you can teach others and even me. But I've never tried to create screens in Thought Tech. But yes, because Thought Tech has all of the modalities, you can do this there. Okay. How do you know? How do you know you found resonance breathing? Where did you see the 1 hertz? I'm not sure who asked that question, Catherine. You asked that. I don't know what you mean by where did you see the 1 hertz, but I have done enough heart rate variability training and also, focused on my resonant breathing to know that my resonant breathing is 4.5. So, and I know you're typing, but I'm going to keep going down the chat here and we'll get to that question again. I thought Thought Tech has a ready protocol. Yes. Thought Tech has a ready protocol for alpha theta, but I have never understood it, to be honest. It's a constant sound to bring you into this deeper sort of, water flowing thing. It doesn't actually give you a reward protocol with thresholds and whatever that will allow you to differentiate from alpha and theta. And plus also it doesn't have included in that screen, it doesn't have the heart rate variability. Can it do heart rate to everyone? Can it do HRV and alpha theta? I don't know what it is, Allison. Feel free to unmute and answer that. But if you're asking about Thought Tech, yes, it can, but you've got to build the screen for it. And like
that's what I was asking.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that, but I know you can, and I know that they don't. They haven't really pushed that ability in Thought Technology for some reason, which I wish they would, because I think that would make Thought Tech much more user, available. You should.
Yeah, it takes an engineering degree to build those screens. It's crazy.
Yeah. You should be able to customize. Yes, I dropped my laptop. I know, Sylvia, breaks my heart. Let's see. Terry, there is an echo. I know. Yes, there is an echo. Bonnie, I noticed that the HRV went up later in the session as your alpha was consistently up. Yeah. Thank you for noticing that. Aren't I amazing? Yeah, no, it's just, I mean, I've done a lot of alpha theta training because that is what my brain needs because I'm a total beta head. And I've done enough heart rate variability to know what my resonant breathing is. So I was able to do that while John was playing clinician. I could just kind of step back and get into my space without trying to create this video and also be the clinician, because I would never have been able to be able to bring myself to that state. So I was glad he was available and that it could work out. Gabrielle can't hear, Bonnie, but you said your normal resting rate is 4. What if you, and then I lost that, ... Anyway, 4.5 is mine. Okay, why parietal instead of occipital? Why the change? And I mentioned this just a moment ago. As I said, Peniston's original, and also the oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. The Greens and the the Menninger Clinic. Yeah, they started at 01 and they did that in the 70s. And here we are 40 years later. And we know now that really to get at these networks that are really important to this kind of training are in the parietal lobe, not in the occipital lobe. So that's why that shifted to the parietal lobe. Okay, Bonnie, question, is HRV necessarily equivalent to meditative state? Beyond a doubt, beyond a doubt. How many times have, I don't know how many times you have, but in my clinical practice, how many times have I had people tell me, oh, I can meditate. And then I hook them up to my peripheral system and their muscles are all over the place. They're breathing 50 breaths per minute and their brains are maybe quieter than they were, but they're not, you need to have the physiology and the EEG be in the same state in order to be able to achieve a true meditative state.
But if you're in a, if you're calculating HRV on resonance breathing, then I guess the better question is when we're in a meditative state, are we naturally in our resonance breathing state?
No.
Because no. So then you could go into a very low breath, slow your heart rate down and still be in a meditative state, but would you necessarily be in your HRV range?
Right. Exactly. No, that's why you want to measure both of those.
Oh, well, measuring, but my question was, are you training it or are you measuring it? I was confused by that.
Both. You're measuring, you've already established the resonant frequency, as I said. Before you even have EEG, you do heart rate variability and resonant breathing training, right? You figure that out. Now you can set it up so that you're watching, and you can even have a pacer on there. If you're like, okay, I know your resonant frequency is 5, and I know that you want to have so many seconds inhale, so many seconds exhale, so on and so forth. I already know that. We've established that. I'm going to set that up, and I'm going to watch to see that your heart rate variability shifts to be at least about a 15 beats per minute difference between the two. And I'm going to be watching your breathing at the same time. And so there might be some shifting going on there. Absolutely. There might be. But, if you've done 2 or 3 sessions and you're very aware of their personal resonant breathing, you should be okay. Right.
Right. Well, I was going to suggest, and you already answered the question definitively, but as a test for control, only training the alpha theta and seeing if we stay in a heart rate variability state.
Absolutely. I mean, why not do that as you are progressing in the training and you're starting to, wean off of the equipment? Why not make sure that they can remain in their resonant frequency when they're not getting feedback? Why not, and you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Right. Well, you answered my question because I really am glad you did that, because I had one experience with a client where I put an electrode on their CZ and they were practicing resonance frequency breathing, and it just was alpha spindle. And so that was cool because this wasn't an alpha person either. So, but it was only one time. So it was a theory.
And you sure it was not an SMR spindle? You sure it was an alpha? Well, it could be the same, but.
Well, it showed up as in the range of 10.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's a little low for SMR, but what the more important thing for those of you who are EEG geeks like me is the rhythm, right? Not the frequency, that the morphology of the wave. That could have been a fast theta for all you know, or a really slow beta or alpha,
Sure.
right?
Well, this is a person that's generally slow, so it was pretty good for
Good.
them. But I mean, yeah, it was just got me thinking, that's all. But so I appreciate this.
Yeah.
whole presentation.
Good. Let's see. Question is HRV. We already answered that. Okay, Sylvia. And what would we look for in the assessment? Well, when you're first doing the assessment, of course, we already talked about HRV, but if you're looking at the EEG assessment, so you want to decide, again, the goal is to do that crossover, right? So generally, alpha amplitude is going to be a little bit higher than theta amplitude back here and with your eyes closed. And so what you want to do is you want to have that crossover where theta becomes higher than alpha. And when it is, and you can ride that for a while, then you know they're in the alpha theta state. Now, how do you, so what you want to do is you want to measure where is their alpha and where is their theta back here. And you want to decide, maybe I don't even want to train alpha. Maybe I just really need to get that theta up. Or maybe I need to get both of them up. Or maybe I need to get theta's good, but alpha's too high and I need to get it down. You need to look at the assessment to determine what would be the right training. And sometimes they might have so much dysregulation in the frontal lobe that you want to train that first before you start doing alpha theta training. The important thing about alpha theta training is that if you're not careful, this brings people into very deep states. And if they are not prepared for it, it can be quite abreactive. So you want to be really careful about that. And you definitely want to take alpha theta training slow. So you want to get their resonant breathing. You want to know that they're comfortable in their body. They've got their resonant breathing. They've practiced heart rate variability. You know that they feel good in their body, good enough in their body. And that when they get into this really deeper state, it's not going to cause them to get into an abreactive state. Very important.
Now, when you say abreactive state, do you consider that sort of a hypnagogic or a hypnosis state, or just that they might go into some trauma? I mean,
trauma.
You're being specific about that. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I know, Sylvia, you want to say something, but let me just finish my thought. You get into this, the whole point of doing all of this is to get into this deeper state so that when you can, because it will allow you to access deeper memories that you've been repressing. Now you are at a place where you can address those deeper memories, just like with EMDR and, other kinds of virtual, PTSD type training. When you're accessing those emotions, those memories, those experiences. Now what you need to do is you need to make sure that they are in a place where they can handle that experience. And if you move too fast and they can't handle it, that's when they can have a real serious abreaction. So anyway, Sylvia. Oh, see, I can't hear you, damn it. I know, I'm sorry. I don't know why I can't hear some of you, but I can hear some of you. I don't know. It's not my fault. If I can hear some and not all, it can't be my fault.
I have a question. So in general, a good alpha theta state is when the theta in the parietal range is higher than the alpha range. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. That's what's known as the crossover. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
is there a ratio or?
No, it's not. It's a period of time. You want to see that crossover happen for more than a half a minute, and it could go on for 4 minutes. Let's see here. And one of the chapters in the Alpha Theta book is by someone who did their dissertation on this and studied the crossover and the different experiences that his subjects had while they were crossing over.
which is really interesting.
Who is that?
Mhm.
Who is that? Who did that?
Mark Johnson. And he did that, and Jeannie Bodenhammer was his chair.
It's out of print.
What?
It's out of print.
No, it's not out of print.
That's on Amazon. It says out of print.
Get it out. I mean, BMed might be a little more expensive, but it's not out of print. That's weird. I don't know. I don't want to. This isn't a selling, platform. I want to get through the chats. Okay, I wanted to see that done on Nexus. Okay, no big deal. I will figure it out. Sylvia says Linda Walker is really good at building screens on ThoughtTech. Great. That's awesome. She is great. I mean, she's amazing. I can do it roughly on the HeartMath system. I don't think so, because you don't have EEG there for one. And I guess you can get people to do resonant breathing, but you got to know what their resonant breathing is first. Okay. Yeah. Okay. She knows that. Okay. Sylvia, how long does the session last? When I was in practice, it was a clinical hour. By the time you hook up, and especially if they're doing that kind of training, you really want to check in with them, what's going on for them, all of their experiences and whatever. So it was always the sessions, on the system. I wouldn't go more than 20 straight minutes. I might, the other thing is with skin conductance, if you start to see a rise of skin conductance, you might want to just softly say, is everything okay? Is there, and the other thing that I used to do is I would let them have a pad of paper and a pen. And my desk was to the side and they were sitting this way and my desk was to the side and they'd have a pad of paper and pen. And a lot of times they would want to write something down. They wouldn't want to really, get out of that state, but they might just want to write a word down or a phrase or something like that to be able to process later. So that was fun too. There were a lot of really cool experiences around that. So the session never more than 20 minutes, but again, I always gave everyone a clinical hour. Is the room dimmed? Absolutely. Do you stay in the room? Absolutely. I don't care what kind of training it is. I never left the room. Well, that's not true. When I had my after school crowd, I had at one point 4 treatment rooms and I had a technician and the two of us would just sort of scoot around the room. So that, yeah. Any other practical tips? No, with alpha theta training, I was very much involved in that and wanted to be present the whole time because at any moment something could come up and I wanted to be available to that. Rebecca asks, what's your book called? Alpha Theta Training, Alpha Theta Neurofeedback Training in the 21st Century. Oh, there you go. Catherine's got it right there. But Bonnie just said, yeah, oh, thank you guys. Bonnie just said it, Amazon is saying it's out of print, but I do know that you can buy it through BMed, B-M-E-D.
It's on BMed. I found it, yeah.
Press.com. I don't know why Amazon is saying that. Finally, yeah, question?
Oh, it said Amazon sucks.
Well, let's not go there. Sylvia says, I do EMDR. Yeah, exactly. Do you know therapists? Yes, well, do you know of, what's his name? Oh gosh. I can see him and he's just an absolutely lovely person and I'm drawing a blank to his name. Hagedorn, David Hagedorn. David Hagedorn has actually, he's published some papers on neurofeedback and EMDR. And I'm not sure if they were specifically alpha theta training or what kind of neurofeedback training they were, but yeah. Gabrielle, bmedpress.com, bmedpress. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay, so we got just another couple of minutes. Anybody have any thoughts or questions around this? And this is being recorded, as is typical for these. And I
I have one more question. So other than a client requesting this, and maybe it's part of the protocol based on what their goals are, what kind of clinical issues would this address?
PTSD,
Okay,
any kind of
all
anxiety,
right.
any kind of anxiety. Optimal performance. I would say those are the main ones.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else have any other thoughts or questions before we embark on the rest of our day, night, morning, wherever we are?
I have a question, but maybe it would be good for another session. But Tiff did some research with meditation using gamma,
Mhm.
and different, right?
No,
No, not different.
no,
So you would follow all the same things, but only you'd be training for gamma versus alpha?
no, absolutely not. No, her work is probably based upon Richie Davidson's work, who worked with the Dalai Lama's what do you call his people. And found that when they went into the deepest meditative state, that they produced a lot of gamma. But that now we know that it's just gamma writing on delta. It's cross frequency coupling is what it is.
Oh,
Makes perfect sense. Makes absolutely perfect sense. Yeah. How do we access?
Can you do this?
Let me just answer Rebecca's question. I don't know. Well, we put it somewhere. I have no idea. I'll ask Rich. Normally he records these, but since he's not here, I'm recording it. We'll figure it out. Go ahead,
Can
Allison.
you do this with STIM?
Not to
Would
my
you- No.
not to my knowledge, no. I wouldn't imagine. I mean, maybe that'd be a great research project. Anything else from anyone? Yeah. Okay. Well, as usual, sorry for all the technical issues, and great to see everyone. Stay warm, stay dry, stay safe, stay well.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.